Hi guys, this is Mike from Longway Planetarium, and today's video is about how to find and observe a star cluster called Melotte 25, also known as the Hyades star cluster. And this is an object in the constellation of Taurus the Bull, which is pretty easily visible with to the naked eye, but it's also a great object to observe through a pair of binoculars if you have a pair. They show up really good, and they're actually better this is another one of those objects that is better to observe through a pair of binoculars than through a telescope, just because it's a very wide object. So in Greek myth, the Hyades were the daughters of Atlas the Titan and the half-sisters of the Pleiades, who precede them across the night sky. And we can see this is the Pleiades cluster right here. They're commonly associated with the spring and fall rains as they set in April and in November, and so that's the rainy season in Greece, so they're just associated with bringing the rains. So we're going to look for them tonight, just after sunset in the southwest, about 8:45 or so. The Hyades are a V-shaped constellation that make up the snout of the constellation Taurus the Ball. And so we see Taurus the Ball is right here, and he's kind of has his eye here is this bright supergiant star called Aldebaran. And then his snout here, this angular snout, is actually made up of the Hyades star cluster. And the easiest way to find this when you're out under the night sky is if you look towards the southwest. We're going to look for the three stars that make up Orion's belt here. And these are three very bright stars that are easily found if we're looking towards the south just after sunset. And so what we're going to do is we're going to draw an imaginary line between those three stars, just kind of connect the dots, and that's going to point us, if we just keep that line going, it's going to point us right to the snout of Taurus the Bull here, and we'll be right beneath this bright orange yellow supergiant star Aldebaran, which is also very bright in the night sky. And so we're going to just follow the three stars of Orion's belt, and they're going to point us right over here to the snout of Taurus the Bull. So the Hyades, let's bring them over here where we can see them a little bit better. The Hyades are just an open star cluster right here that make up this V-shaped snout of Taurus. And if we look at a binocular view, what you'll see through a pair of binoculars, this is kind of the field of view of a pair of 10 by 50 binoculars. And so here we see Aldebaran here at about between 9 and 10 o'clock in the view. And then just beneath Aldebaran, kind of towards the center of the view, we're going to see this V-shaped cluster of stars. And there's probably about 20 stars that are fairly bright in the cluster that you'll be able to see through your binoculars. And then the more powerful binoculars you have, the more of those stars you'll see. There's probably about close to 80 stars in the cluster altogether that you can pick out. If your eyes are well adapted and you're under dark skies, you'll see more than you will in the city of Flint. But the Hyades is actually the closest star cluster to us here on Earth. It's only about 150 light years away from the Earth. And Aldebaran here in the just above and to the left of the Hyades is not part of the Hyades cluster. We used to think that it was, but it's actually even closer to us. It's only about 65 light years away from the Earth. So all of this is fairly close. Hyades, again, is the closest star cluster to the Earth, and because of that, it's very bright, and it looks fairly big, so it covers about 6 degrees of the sky, which is a fairly good size target, which is why it's actually better to view them through a pair of binoculars than a telescope. So if we look at this, just to give you a few more images so you see what you're looking at, this is a view of the Hyades cluster taken from the Hubble Space Telescope. And so here we see, again, this this bright yellow-orange supergiant Aldebaran, and then beneath it we can see the angular snout of Taurus the Ball, this cluster of stars that make up the Hyades. And it's a lot of very bright blue B-class stars and yellow-orange K-class stars. So if we take a look at one more view here, this is just a view I shot through a pair of binoculars using my cell phone camera. And again, we can see here's a very colorful orange-yellow star Aldebaran up here to the upper left, and then down here we can see the V-shaped clustering of stars that make up the Hyades. So you can see it. You can see a lot of those colorful stars, and it's a fairly attractive cluster to view through a pair of binoculars. So that's it for this video. We'll be posting some additional videos with new objects to find in the night sky. But until then, good luck finding the Hyades, and go ahead, get out there, enjoy the beauty of the night sky, and we'll see you soon.